Welcome to the Creative Condition podcast with me, Ben Tallon, illustrator and creativity coach, founder of the Creative Condition, artist and writer. I bring 20 years of creative industry experience and a lifelong love of creativity, a fundamental pillar of human happiness, to you through ongoing personal exploration and the shared experiences of others. You'll get a nourishing mix of creative industry professionals and people far and wide using creativity in ways that can take our learning to the next level so we can maximise our unique blend. The show has been supported from day one by Illustration X, a tremendous illustration agency representing a shining global roster of illustrators and animators over at illustrationx.com. The music for the show is by Dirty Freud, who you can listen to now on all good streaming services. And for everything else, for my coaching, resources and inspiration, head to thecreativecondition.com. Welcome to the show. My name is Ben Tallon. This is the Creative Condition podcast. How are you doing, guys? Are you well? You are joining me for an evening brew, actually. This is my last cup of tea of the day. Kids are in bed. Lovely sunset kicking off behind me. Just watered the wildflower patches in the garden. Feeling pretty good this week. I'm feeling good. Do you know why? I've got my head around a few miggles, a few little things I had going on. For starters, I have not quit, but very much come off Instagram. And it's really helped. I think I might mention this on a previous show, but I have shed what I didn't realise was quite a stressor. And I don't mean that in the sense that, you know, Twitter got really toxic, didn't it? It became X. And it turned into shouting, millions and millions of angry growls and shouts and swipes. Got quite ugly, whereas it used to be the opposite of that. But I'm not here to talk about that in particular, but by taking that out, by stripping my social media down to more or less exclusively LinkedIn, it's a transaction now. It's not, no, do you know, it's not even that. It's not a transaction because I have a lot of good relationships going on that platform. And I'm sharing very real feelings and thoughts and all of the things that I do around creativity and my work as an artist. But it's all business in the sense that my business is creativity. And I like that because I go on there, I do what I need to do, I engage with the people I engage with, and I get off. There's no scrolling, there's no swiping, there's no endless stories and friends angry about political issues and all that stuff. And not that that's bad in its own right. We all have a voice. We should use that voice to speak about issues we care about. But for me, it was becoming too much of a filter. It was something I had to do. It was a drain on my time. I was getting far less back than what I was having to put in. So I fucked it off. And I feel a lot better. More clear-headed now. I'm more focused on my practice. My creativity is now autotelic in the sense that it is in and of itself, as opposed to something I'm doing which is being funneled into an environment that encourages me to think through the lens of that platform, if that makes sense. The filter that is Instagram, no pun intended. That's one thing. We've had some nice sunshine. The wildflowers, as I said, they're coming up in the garden. I'm feeling a connection with nature out there. I'm feeling good on that. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. This is the duration of one brew. I'm here with a black tea in the evening. That is what this show is. And it's a bit of a brain dump during the course of a cup of tea, in that lovely way that when you meet somebody for a cup of coffee, you sort of have things out. You get to the important topics. You finish your brew. You say, this was nice, let's do it again. And you move on. That's what I wanted from this edition of the show. So I'm here with a black tea, and I wanted to talk about something that I picked up from my conversation at Paradiso Festival in Mexico with Timothy Goodman and Jessica Hish. We had a wonderful three-way conversation on stage there, and I was editing it today because it's this week's episode of the podcast, so that is coming tomorrow. And it's magic. I love those guys. both based in New York, I believe. Is Jessica based in New York? I'm second guessing myself now. I know Timothy is. Anyway, these guys graduated quite close to each other and they've been pals. And they were looking to have a conversation at Paradiso, but they felt just those two having a conversation without a chair would have been a bit odd. So I was asked to chair it, which was a lovely compliment, and we had a great chat. I hope my role was additive. I feel like it was. I feel like those guys brought the substance, but I kind of just kept the flow in what was a half an hour conversation. But I'll tell you what Timothy said. He said, I asked him a question about his versatility. So he's very much an artist's artist. He's pure. At Paradiso, he did a brilliant performance, reading of a story with backing music. I saw him do a very similar performance with music at Off Festival the year before. He's written a book about dating and love. He's not afraid to wear his heart on his sleeve. That's something we talk about because it's a conversation about the personal. Not just personal work, but the personal in our work and around our work. Really great chat. Jess and Tim both brought really valuable stuff, so I hope you listen to that episode coming out this Wednesday. But what Timothy said in response to that, when I asked him about that, he felt that that was just what he's always been as an artist. An emotional guy who sometimes feels lonely, who likes to share his feelings through his work. And he made the reference that it only seemed unusual or unique because he's attached to graphic design, because he's been doing a lot of illustration work through the realm of graphic design and art direction. And that's not the done thing in that world. And why is that? Maybe because we stay in our lanes a little bit too much. Maybe because we don't consider broader influences within our practice. And maybe we draw too much inspiration from only our practice. And I think that Timothy is a guy who responds to his heart, his mind, the world in which he lives. And I think that's beautiful. I think that's what's attractive about Timothy's work. And for a guy with a very simple, naive style, there's an incredible amount of depth, and that comes from the storytelling that he achieved through his work. That's what I landed on in the end. He's a storyteller. He's an artist. Yes, he works in illustration. Yes, he works in design. Yes, he creates murals. All of that stuff is singular. It's kind of disposable. It's momentary. In a bigger conversation that emanates from his lived experience as a human being. That's what we're all going to need to move towards if we're to survive AI. I've heard it said, and I agree, that the age of being able to make a living simply by being a hand is coming to an end, and it's coming to an end very soon. I don't mean to freak you out, but if you're doing something that is, we need X, Y, and Z, we want it to be exactly like this, and we need it delivered in this format for this date, I think that's going to be the stuff that gets gobbled up first by AI. This isn't a conversation about AI. This is, I'm thinking real time now. That's what happens in these episodes over a brew. But you're going to have more than that. You're going to have a personal brand, something unique, a voice. It's going to be the age of authenticity, and I think that's got a massive upside. So if you're not already someone who's telling your story, you need to start considering exactly how you do that. It's something I do through my coaching. I do it with all my clients. I help them to discover their truest, most authentic personality and lived experience and find how to package that in a very pure way, in a way that will enable you to make a living. It's very exciting for me. I love doing that. I love hearing a story and getting to know a person and then challenging them to maximize that. That's what I do, whether it's my long-term coaching or my pit stop session. And check all that out at thecreativecondition.com/coach. Get in touch if you want to talk about that. Just drop us a little note through the form on the website, or drop me an email, get me on LinkedIn, whatever. We'll have a chat, we'll have a Zoom call, we'll see if we're a good fit and we could do something together. But Timothy's point was, it kind of rocked me at the time, but I had to stay in my interviewer mindset. But just this week when I was editing it, it really grabbed me by the throat, and I thought, the guy knows, the guy's on it. He is living his artist life. He's moving towards whatever the best suited opportunities are so he can make a living and live the life he wants to live. But really, at its core, he is making the work he wants to make, and then he's finding the outlet for it. That's the way we're going to have to go to bring value in this age of automation. And that was the thought. That's the thought I wanted to share with you over this brew. If you want to hear that from the horse's mouth, then do check out the episode that's coming out this Wednesday with Timothy Goodman and Jessica Hish live at Paradiso Festival. That has been One Black Tea on a sunset on a Monday evening. It's been nice sharing it with you. Do drop us a share, a rating, a review, a subscription. If you want to shout about the show, if you want to pick up a copy of The Creative Condition, you can do all that at either bentallonwriter.com or thecreativecondition.com. Cheers for your time, guys. Thank you to the sponsors of the show. Been here since day one, 10 years ago, illustrationx.com. Check them out now for their global range of illustration and animation portfolios. Last swig. There we have it. See you later.